Yes,
Yo,
sir. Yes, sir.
what's up? Peace. What's happening? This is Wyze Nine.
This is D.Divine, and we
Back
are
at you with
tuned
a
in
trending
to,
topic.
huh?
I said back at you with a trending topic.
Yes, yes, yes. Moodslingerz magazine. We are back.
That's it.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. This one story is making its ways around the internet. I do want to interject our perspective on it because you know what I'm saying we are the OGs, we are the big hunks, and me, I don't know about you, but um, we are from the time of where street culture was at its peak. Okay. And what's happening now is that in 2026, the newer generation, they're not, it's like you have those that's trying to live that street culture, but they're not understanding, you know what I'm saying, the consequences and the repercussions
Hmm.
of trying to relive that street culture. So basically, in Florida, right, you had this rapper called Julio Foolio, and he was murdered
Hmm.
a while back. They caught all the defendants. Other story, like why they did it and all that, I don't know too much about. But one of the main defendants in the case,
Defendants.
yeah, they all, I think they all, it was four of them. I think they all got sentenced to life, and sentenced. They were trying to give them the death penalty, right?
We're
So this
trying to, right, right.
one defendant in particular, his name is Sean Gatt, right? He was opting for just life imprisonment instead of them giving him the death penalty, right? So,
Well,
so here's a clip.
okay,
I'm gonna play a clip of what was said, and this clip was what was making its way around social media.
but went viral, right?
That went viral, right? So I'll
Hmm.
just let me see. Okay, pull this up real quick. Just give it a few seconds. It's technology is not always at its greatest. Watch this.
And based on Mr.
Hear it?
Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in work capacity if he were sentenced to life without parole?
I say yes with my experience, not only just intoxication, but as former warden and even as a jail administrator. He's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration. We have that. So we put these young individuals to work and get some sweat equity out of them since they are young and actually can do the work.
That's Sunday. Okay, so two interesting things about that about that statement, right? One was where he talked about sweat equity. All right. So here's the thing where you realize in the prison population with the prison pipeline, this is an agenda where they're factoring in equity, sweat equity, as if it's some sort of a profit, if it's some sort of a value, which lets you know that they will do whatever to make sure that equity, as they call it, is not lost. You see what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Um, I worked in, well, with the prison system
Okay.
for almost 7 years. Um,
Wow. Okay. Oh,
as a
right.
contractor, as a contractor. Um, so you see it firsthand. It's definitely a business. It's big business and big money. The company I work for basically is probably in different states, and their sole customers or businesses was prisons and jails. So, to say the least, we know the education system is built to service that pipeline. Um, so, I mean, for this to go viral, this whole moment, um, not only does it shed light, but I mean, this is something that's been going on for years. And just the audacity of them to just dangle it in the public's face, like, what it is slavery, and for, you know, the people who vote in that area, the constituents of that district and stuff, man, boy, I would be all over that, you know.
Mhm.
But this is the time in date that we live in, and it's going to get even worse. Where you just see there's going to be a population of slaves. I mean, that's where it's going to head.
I
You know,
seen another
um,
thread. I seen another thread, right? To add to that, where you say population of slaves, do you know that the prison population? I seen this on like another one. The prison population is added into the census,
hmm,
right? Even okay, and what's interesting now, I don't know if they give prisoners a right to vote. I know, like during the Obama
I don't know.
administration, they was rigging a way where they made the prisoners were able to vote, and that's how he got in, right? Because they do all
Who told you
they,
that?
huh?
Who told you that?
This was a thread I've seen. I'm not sure, but I'm saying
No,
they
that's not factual.
okay,
Still in this country, if you're a convicted felon, you
right,
cannot vote.
okay,
You cannot vote. So you mean to tell me that you can take money out of my taxes each paycheck annually through the annual income taxes I have to pay, but I'm a convicted felon and I can't vote. So that means that's you know representation, taxation without representation.
right,
So right there you're wrong.
mm-hmm.
But this country has allowed this to happen for so many years. I mean, it's just it's unheard of. You
It's
know,
it's
um,
interesting that you said you work for the prison populations because I'm mind blown. So like you know, like so if you say something, I have to just go back. I have to just say, well, okay.
yeah, you
It's
know.
just like you've seen stuff firsthand, and you experienced. You have
Listen,
experience in this
I
thing.
mean, it's it's crazy. I mean, I've seen even turnover in like administration where you have these companies come in, and they bid for these jobs. It's big business, is what it is.
Crazy.
And unfortunately, our young men and young women haven't realized that they're getting sucked into a system that's ultimately going to make them a slave. Because when you built up this record, you know the odds are stacked against you for getting jobs.
Right.
So then you're not able to maintain a comfortable lifestyle, because you can't find gainful employment. So the next step is, well, I got to survive. So you're going to do what you got to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that means taking a risk to go back to these institutions. So and they know that's why you got most people who get out of jail end up returning.
Yeah, we did. Remember, we did the talk with Spectac, who's in the educational system. You can check out that episode of you know what I'm saying, Moodslingerz magazine. You remember he was a principal, and he talks about how when you talk about the illiteracy and how half the population are reading on the fifth grade level, and he said that all of that feeds into the prison pipeline. It feeds into you know uh,
Exactly, and
healthcare
that's
issues.
the same thing I said about the education system.
Hmm.
The education system is dooming our youth.
Right.
By the third grade, the majority of the time they already have a count of how many of these kids are headed to prison. You know, normally by third
They
grade they're
set up
labeled.
and they set up the school like they set up the prison. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The whole, like the lunch down to the trays, the food trays, down to the ringing of the bell, down to the
kids are
formations.
already programmed and institutionalized. By the time you get there, ain't nothing new.
Yeah, you just following suit. If you just one of those, just end up in the prison. You following suit. Like whatever they need you to do. It's like you already
Yeah,
you already programmed
you're
to like,
already
oh, okay,
institutionalized. Yeah, exactly. They got you wearing uniforms at school,
right.
khakis
They
and
got you wearing
khakis and
uniforms
white
in
shirts.
prison.
You know what I'm saying? But you wearing in prison, same thing. But
Also, the other bullet point when he talked about the aging population in prison. So let's talk about that a
that,
minute.
that's us.
Yes, that is the X generation. That was
That's
all of
that's
those
Generation X. That's all those dope dealers in the '90s,
from the
in
crack
the
era,
'80s. You know what I'm saying? From the
from your
crack era.
from your
Yeah,
favorite
exactly.
from your favorite president, Jim Crow Joe, as they like to call him,
Yeah, yeah.
who
You
who
know,
who instituted all of that,
yeah,
and now, a lot of those people that are coming out. Hopefully, for those who are able to come out, but for those who had those that caught those life sentences for RICO and all those kind of things, it's
yeah.
like they can't break down the big rocks to the little rocks till they back give out. You
That's
can't
right.
work them like
So,
how they
so,
say in
so
the
you got to
Django,
replace these workers.
right?
You got
You
to
can't
replace
work them
these
like in
workers.
the Django movie, like you taking them to the LaQuinn Dickey
Mhm.
factory.
I mean, we could keep going. About the gun laws, how
Right.
they lessen the gun laws, so that these YNs can get them. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it's a whole man. It's
It's like what kind of okay because now here okay, here's another interesting thing because it's like the street culture. One thing I can give credit for in this new generation, they're kind of pushing back against that whole, what I'm saying, culture that we came up off of. It's like when you seen Young Thug go through his trial, and then there was a campaign where they were saying "F the streets" because they're seeing firsthand after seeing like they might have seen their dads locked up
Mhm.
or their older brothers and uncles locked up, so they're saying like, "Yo, this ain't what it cracked up to be." And now in 2026, the way the economy is and the way inflation is, it's like you're taking a chance to just make a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like it was glamorous back then. If you was a drug dealer making your own money, you was making thousands on end and stuff like that. But they don't talk about the life or death chances that you had to take. Not only just not going to jail, but you had to deal with the rivals trying to take over, and
well,
you had to have a killer mentality. You wasn't just like it ain't like how the young boys, like the water boys, right? Water boys just go
right,
somewhere, go into a store, get them a pack, sell water on the corner, right?
right,
You got a corner, you got to hold that down because you got some rivals on the other end. It's like, oh, he's getting money over here. We need to take him out. So you
yeah,
have to have this mentality of where you have to kill someone or you could end up being killed.
yeah. The thing is, I mean, gentrification
Has broken
has
that up in 20. So
broken a lot of
that's
that
another
up.
factor. Like where
You
they
know what I'm
had all
saying?
these like in the they had the last remnant of all the projects in our era. In
Mhm.
our young era, now you don't have that so much.
Right,
That's a good thing,
right.
you
You
know.
know,
And but at the
yeah,
same
but I mean, but that's is a good thing and it's a bad thing.
right,
And
because
that's
we
a
no
whole
longer
other
have our
topic we can get
communities
into.
like
But
we had.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The same people that made those communities are not longer in those communities.
Right,
So,
and then and then there's
that's a bad thing about it. They're not even able to afford housing in those communities.
Correct.
So
Yeah, they raised the rent.
that,
The rent is crazy. The
yeah,
communication
yeah,
factor, like you don't have people, you know, uh, 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 greeting you like they do. You have people like I have people like I'm in a complex now. None of the neighbors speak to each other. None,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
unheard of.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody knew
Well,
everybody.
listen, man. Just to circle the wagon on what we were talking about, and the young guy unfortunately fall into the system in Florida, man. Um, just parents out there, who have these teenage kids,
Hmm.
talk to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? You would be surprised, if you just real with them and have conversations, the amount of information that you'll learn and the amount of information that you can pass on, good information.
Right.
And that's the thing too. We got to get back to parenting. Um,
And see,
those that
and
are, those of us that have kids of these ages, and stuff like that. We got to get back to parenting and get back into these kids' lives, man. Because there's no reason that young man should be spending the rest of his life working and serving the state.
and by he was influenced by the I guess the ringleader or whatever, and because you can kind of tell, just like you can't see it here, but look, if I had for what they were saying when he was checking his background, he didn't fit the criteria of somebody that was always in trouble running the streets and saying. But you always have these individuals, right, that are about that life, and they influence kids. This has been happening forever. They always influence these kids, and they ain't got no business. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And they don't
right,
have the okay, like say in the movie, like say Boys in the Hood, where which caller just got murdered. Trey's right in the car with Ice Cube, but Trey, something comes over him and he's like, yo, Doe, let me out. A
mhm, mhm.
lot of these kids don't have that instinct or that mindset to be like, hold up. Nah, this ain't me. I ain't supposed to be in this.
Right, right, right.
you know, it was the realization that he might end up like his boy. His boy
Yeah,
wasn't into no trouble. He had got the scholarship to go to school. He was that close to being out of there. And boom, wow. And
yep,
he wasn't nothing. He wasn't connected to the streets. You would figure that would happen to that would happen to Doughboy first. What happened to his brother?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
We know the story. We know the
right, right,
story.
right,
We
right.
know the
I'm just
story. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Definitely, 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 definitely. But yo, we gonna wrap this thing up, man.
Okay,
So yeah, uh, unfortunate, um, this is the day and time that we live in.
right.
So yeah,
If
people
we
be
could just
safe out
yeah. Like I said, it just needs to be more programs to what I'm saying, get our youth, more activated in a positive way. But yeah, this
there.
is
Right.
Moodslingerz magazine,
Peace, my
and
people. Be
with
safe
our
out
trending
there.
topic. We'll be back at you. Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you have any suggestions, definitely put them in there, and let's maybe we can start a whole live conversation about it. We can come back to it in a whole different form. All right.
Right.